Thanks, witnesses. So just I might leave a minute at the end just to get an update on Tala, on the satellite, how that's progressing. If you can't hear, maybe just to forward us a note on it. It's is there a state-to-state diplomatic element to resolving this? The Royal BAM is a very good name internationally. Government Cabinet approved National Maternity Hospital, a new National Maternity Hospital yesterday. I got a text from a constituent last night saying, make sure you don't give that contract to BAM. This just can't go on. The low productivity, it sounds like they've kind of loosely walked off the site until this is resolved. I don't mean walked off the site, and you're cringing at that, and I want to be careful with language. But the productivity isn't what you expected. They're not delivering to date what you anticipate them delivering. It's like the process has slowed down. Is that deliberate, do you think? Or is it because there's a shortage of man and woman power? I mean, I hear your frustration. I don't hear any kind of big picture steps to resolve it, like, aside from, it's unacceptable, and like there's no way of escalating this, from government to government. The way you presented it here is this is all BAM's fault. So I'm taking you at your word on that. So this is the biggest project in the history of the state. This is an international company that's, I presume if someone was to Google it in the months ahead, all that would come up is the kind of news that's been presented here to this Oireachtas hearing, to previous Oireachtas hearings. Not good news for a company with that kind of international reputation, yet it doesn't seem to bother them.
Should I respond?
Please. Yeah.
Observations, and I can guarantee you at the board meetings and at our discussions with our stakeholders, a lot of the discussion and the answer to these questions are talked about at great length. So just to say that. I think slight problem in the Dutch situation at the moment, I don't think they have a government at the moment. I think the government collapsed recently. But again, that's a tiny point. I think, I did update the members earlier that we were due to get a programme last Friday. That has not arrived, but that BAM has committed to providing us with a programme next week, and we look forward to getting that. And I would hope that would be a platform for discussions and a platform for delivering certainty on the timeline, and that can open up discussions between the parties, again, meaningful discussions. I think it's reasonable as we look at this delay and how this project rolls on. To me, at this stage, certainty on the completion date is critically important, and if we can get that, I think it would be a significant achievement. And to get that, we need the programme, but we also need to understand that the contractor is going to deliver to that programme. So the assurances and the commitment, and whether that needs to come from senior BAM executives or even through the governmental, as you suggest, I don't know whether that would add value, but just to say, that I think that's the way forward. So I think we will look forward to getting that programme, and we look forward to seeing what it says, satisfying ourselves, and then we look forward to engaging with BAM to reassure ourselves that they will deliver on this. That's our goal.
Okay, so the board has been before us before with this, been exactly this kind of narrative.
Mm. And that is correct, and we have been very closely engaged with BAM. I gave an answer to a question earlier about we tried the very contractual route and the writing of letters and all of this. I joined this project in late 2019, and I think we spent a year going down all that very heavy contractual legal route, and we didn't feel we were making a lot of progress. We then tried, as I made the comment earlier, and if I don't get shot for saying, we tried a collaborative approach, and we've been engaged for 20 months or so in trying to find a way through the differences. You know, BAM has a different view of the world than we have. There's no doubt about that. And having engaged in that process, we've now, shall we say, exited that process and have for the last few months been back to the contractual hardening of lines. And I think it's only delivering what we see in front of us and what we're reporting to you. So I think it would be timely and I think reasonable for us to engage again and for BAM to engage with us around this programme, assuming we get it next week, as the basis for a meaningful discussion on how we might resolve the differences between us and get certainty on the delivery of the project.
So what might be involved if they delivered that document? What would you anticipate that containing?
Well, what we need to assure ourselves of that is that it's comprehensive, that it is complete, that it addresses all the key issues, all the key activities. There's a tendency when the time pressure, that the concertina starts to squeeze in on some topics, for example. So we know that certain activities take certain amounts of time and they can't be collapsed. Others, if you throw more resources at them, you can do them more quickly. So we would need to reassure ourselves as we look at the primary activities on the critical path that we have reasonable time allocations in there for those. We would need to reassure ourselves that, all the issues that have not been done because BAM has been working at, if you're working at 67 or 70%, the 30% that you haven't been doing get dumped into the future. We need to make sure that all that is there. And then we need to make sure that there's appropriate time at the end for acceptance of all the buildings, for us assuring ourselves that we have the quality of everything that we need, and then we get to that point. So that would be the process that we would normally go through, and we have experts in our, that are advising us on this, who do that work on our behalf, as well as some of our own expertise from the people we have on our team that have built hospitals around the world. So we can do that analysis, assure ourselves that this is real, and then it's not just a plan. Anyone can write a plan, but then it's about what's the plan to execute that plan. Are you going to deliver, Mr. BAM, in the first month you're going to hit all your deliverables, all your milestones, all your key activities? That is the next test. And if we got to the point where we had confidence like that, I think we'd be willing to discuss, how do we resolve the differences of a financial nature?
And if you don't?
Well, then we're in the contract, we're in contract, and we are implementing and administering the contract from here until the hospital opens. So what I'm discussing with you is moving outside of the contractual and the litigation and all that will bring into an alternative dispute resolution mechanism effectively to see can we find a solution to our differences.
So you say that BAM isn't providing sufficient resources to deliver the hospital and that it achieved, to illustrate that point, it achieved 67% of its planned output in the last 12 months. Where do you think their resources are? Have they the resources?
Well, we have the situation where we have 100% of employment in the construction sector, right? So I will acknowledge there are resourcing challenges, but just to put it very, that's BAM's challenge to deliver the resources. They are required under the contract to make as speedy progress as they can and proceed regularly and diligently with the works. That's their obligation under the contract. It's up to them to get the workers on site to get this job done. We're saying we don't believe they have sufficient resources, and the progress that they're demonstrating currently is evidence that they don't have sufficient resources.
on site or in the country?
Well, we're only have visibility on our site, and I couldn't comment on other jobs or other projects. We know they're involved in some other large projects.
I'll leave Tala to you, Chair, maybe just a brief update on the satellites.
So the satellite in Tala and Connolly are both operational. So they're both functioning. The satellite in Connolly is functioning as an emergency care unit and as an urgent care centre, and the one in Tala is operating 24 hours a day because there is still an inpatient unit in Tala. There isn't an inpatient unit, obviously, in Connolly, so it's not open during the night. And inpatients are transferred to the most suitable one of the 3 hospitals, depending on what's wrong with the child. Then outpatient services are running as well in both Tala and Connolly. And I work with the Neurodevelopmental and Disability Service, and we're doing all our clinics in Tala and in the new build, and it works really well. People really like it. It's a lovely environment and atmosphere. The quality of the rooms is good. All the services are there that we need. There's the emergency care unit downstairs, and there's a radiology department there that works. So we still have a lot of liaison and links with Tala University Hospital, because all our samples go to that laboratory, and then for CT and MRI imaging we also access that through TUH. But the new build is going really well.
Is it working to capacity?
I don't know. I don't have on me the full figures. I know we're doing all of our services, doing all of our clinics there. I'm not sure about, I know there's quite a lot of general paediatric and other health and social care professional services, but I wouldn't have the data for that.
Okay.
Pardon?
There are waiting lists for either of the 2 facilities?
Again, I don't have all of that data. That would be CHI.
Yeah. We could certainly relay those questions to CHI, who run the operation.
Bernard Dawkins next.
Thank you, Chairman.